Alex the Railroader here for another update. I just got a few things to show you, including something I built, and then a little update on some more testing I'm doing for my track. Alright, so I'm sitting here at my kitchen table. I've drawn out some basic measurements for the outhouse that I'm trying to build. This will be the first time I've ever built a model using actual wood and stuff like that. With N scale, things are really too small to work realistically with wood models and stuff like that. So it just still turns out looking like a plastic model in my opinion. So anyway, I've drawn out some basic measurements. Everything else on how I want it to look is in my head. So from there, I'm just gonna try to build this real quick. But first, I have to start with staining the wood, to which I'll make a mixture of paint and water, and then start staining the wood. Let that stain real quick while I finish up some other things. Alright, so I finished staining everything. It's kind of like a dark gray, and it's worked really well, so this is what I'm left with. Now, the idea is that my mining town takes place somewhere between 1890 and 1900, so somewhere in that 10-year period. I imagine that the town is relatively new, so you're not going to see completely rotted wood on the buildings. It's still going to be somewhat brand new lumber, only that it's just slightly dirty from being outside and being rained on and whatnot. And then I'll also weather these with weathering powders as I go along. Or at least once it's assembled. So now I'm going to assemble the whole thing into an outhouse. All right, so I've got the frame all glued up. This is just the interior frame of the outhouse, and the floorboards as well. It's designed to be a maximum of 7 scale feet tall, um, and including the exterior, from exterior to exterior, on both dimensions, is approximately 4 scale feet by 4 scale feet. So it's a pretty tiny little outhouse. And down here in the foreground, I have cut the lumber that will make up the 2 foot wide door. I kind of last minute decided I was gonna install a little toilet in there. See, originally I was gonna have this little door uh, shut on the outhouse, but decided why not? The interiors look pretty nice. All I have to do is install a little toilet. So what I've got here, and I know it's really hard to see, but it's a little bench, and the people sit on this bench, and there's a hole, and that goes down into the pit below. Now, I was gonna drill a hole originally, but After really looking at it, it looked like you really couldn't see much because of how dark it is in that outhouse. So instead, I'm going to draw this hole with a Sharpie, and now I'm going to weather it. I've got some iron weathering powder. I know it doesn't look like much, but I figure if I weather it just a little bit with this iron, it'll look kind of dirty and gross. And now you can see the finished result. It is a fully formed outhouse built with 2x4s and 2x6s, and then on the inside is a dirty toilet. And if I turn it around here, you can see the other side. If I turn it around again, so really neat. This is my first time building a model made of wood, especially with this much detail, which for me was only possible with O scale. So first, here's the layout. I've been doing just a little bit of tidying up. I wouldn't necessarily say cleaning because I really kind of just threw everything all in one corner, a little bit neatly in my opinion. But anyway, so I want to show you some new things I got. So I ended up buying some switch tracks for my new layout, including a bunch of microengineering HO scale curved diverging tracks and things like that. Really some neat stuff here. Now I will admit, back when I bought these HO scale tracks, they're the what do you call them? These are the flex track. I'm sorry, I can't even think right now. So I bought a bunch of flex track, and it's all HO scale. Now I know my layout is ON30 scale, and I did say in the last update that the HO scale track really didn't bother me, but after purchasing it, I kind of realized how close together and small the ties are, and it did kind of bother me. But at this point, I've already made the investment. I could try to sell it, but I don't think I could sell it for a better price than what I bought it for. I wouldn't make the money back, is what I'm trying to say. And I think, honestly, it just comes down to aesthetics, and though it does bother me that the ties are scaled smaller than what I need, I think I'm just going to have to deal with it. It's not that big a deal. But anyway, so I wanted to test some curve radius today. I ended up buying these Kato Unitrack. These are 19.25-inch radius. This will simulate the tightest turn on my layout, and I'm actually going to test the basic shape of the main line that I will have on my finalized layout today. So I'm going to clear some of this and then test it. But I kind of did something dumb, which is I tried to buy this track on Amazon at first, and I thought I found it. I ended up buying N scale instead, which really just ticked me off because it wasn't properly labeled online, and I couldn't see the fine print at the top of the thing in the picture. So I ended up having to go to eBay and find what I needed. So anyway, I'll be setting that up and then showing you what's going on with that. And then with these here, I ended up saving these from my shop. They were just going to get thrown away. They're made of cardboard, really sturdy. I can't squeeze them shut. They're that sturdy. And I was thinking about making a couple of water towers out of these, maybe just two. One for my layout and one for my friend's layout. My layout, as you know, is ON30 scale, so it's large enough that it could pass for ON30 scale, but small enough that it could fit my friend's HO scale layout too. So it's kind of right at the right size I need. Alright, so I've rearranged the track with the new tighter turn radius on this side to better mimic the final track is going to look like. I've even set up the Forney locomotive on the track for testing. This one is the main concern because this one doesn't handle as tight of a turn radius as my other small 042 does. And as you can see, the track has a slightly tighter turn right here, and then it has a slight bend right there, a left turn, before it goes into this big, round, wide turn. So we're just going to have to see how it goes. So let's test the Forney and see how it does on the turns. Let's see here. Just the speed setting, and there it goes. Speed 35. Now you can see how the back end swings off the track like that. That's going to be a major concern because I'm hoping that swinging of the back end doesn't force the cars off the rail. But I did some testing a long time ago to make sure that it's not an issue. And so far it hasn't been. There it is, making a left turn. Then it goes into the right turn. Now, in the final layout, I do plan for that left turn to be a bit smoother. There's going to be a lot more length to that part of the track. So here it goes over the trestle. And comes back. Alright, so far so good. Now I'll need to add cars. Alright, I've added the cars to the track. Let's go ahead and couple the engine to the cars. Alright, now let's run it the other direction. So here, starts going around the turn. As you can see, I'm kind of holding my arm out. I'm so afraid it's just going to swing those cars off the track. But it's doing just fine. And it's rounding that turn without any issues, no wheel slip. Now all the cars are on that turn, so that's the maximum force against it. Now this will be interesting to see how it rounds this S curve here, because first it has to make an immediate left and then an immediate right. Now this won't be as prominent on my layout once again, but it is something that I have to watch out for. Oh, look at that. Oh, derailment. Alright, I'm analyzing what happened here, and you can kind of see, if this camera will focus, that you can see how far apart each of the couplers are. So the coupler for this locomotive is swinging off the track at this point, and the coupler for that car is on the other side of the track. That's how much force was going against this train on this S-curve. Look at that. I ended up putting an extra piece of curved track right there, so now there's two in the center, and then on either side I put a straight track like that, and that way, so when the train is making a left, it doesn't suddenly change direction. Instead, it's got a little bit of a straightaway to even out, and then it can start making its right. So by doing that, that should have resolved the problem, at least for the test track, but I will have to make further considerations for the final design. But let's go ahead and run the train. I have it all hooked up again. Now you can see the engine going over that one straight track there to even it out. And as it starts making its turn, there we go. Just what I expected. No derailments or anything, because that sudden change of direction is no longer there. Now there's a straight track to help change the direction. All right, so as you can see here, I had to alter the plans for the new layout because I was really afraid of that S curve. I just really wanted to eliminate it after all of that. So as you can see on the north side of the layout there, over by the iron ore chute, that left-hand turn is now just very it's almost gone, really. It's a very long turn. So that way, there's not much forces acting against the train. As well as if you look at the tightest turn radius on the main line, which is on the left there, I increased that from 19-inch turn radius to 20-inch turn radius, which meant that I had to remove one of the extra staging yard tracks just to make way for it. So I won't be able to have as much storage space as I planned, but that's all right. There's still enough space for both my freight train and my passenger train. And switching things around will probably allow me to hold a third train even still. And as you can see, I moved the engine house closer to the freight train line, and I even had to put a mining car track to go around the engine house over the freight line in order to meet the iron ore chute on the other side. But otherwise, everything else is the same. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this update today. Stay tuned for the next one. You'll probably see more buildings and stuff constructed in the next update. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you later.